So let's talk to it. So let's start with your process. How do you make the decision on how to light? Is there a concept art that you have to reference? Do you have to do the research and figure out based on time of day? Or do you have full freedom? Let's talk about that first.
Yeah, so our process, like, we'd go over the lighting with like the map lead, like basically like what exactly they want. Um, we don't get too much concept art support. It's kind of just like whatever the map lead like thinks the map should be, and then I'll get some like concept art like early on just to help flesh out like what exactly the map's going to be. But like when it gets like more into like the middle of building out the maps and stuff, we really don't get too much, and it just gets more creative from there on out.
Okay.
um yeah.
Uh, that's interesting. And do you know how many people work in the studio that you're in?
Hundreds.
Yeah, and I've
A
noticed
lot.
it's common this workflow on bigger studios because when I work, I besides Ubisoft anyway, I work on smaller studios and smaller projects,
Mhm.
and you have a bit more say on the concept art and the pre-production. But
Definitely.
it's the same workflow so to speak, but it's more pre-production based first. So let's talk a little bit about so you say you had the more or less freedom based on what the lead says. When you say the lead, do you mean lead lighting artist?
No, the map lead, basically like the like an environment artist, like the because our multiplayer team compared to the campaign team was like a fraction of the size. Because like campaign, like for those that don't know, like Halo's traditionally been like a very linear style game, um, and like Halo Infinite's more like open world esque now. So a lot more resources were definitely pushed for the campaign team. So the multiplayer team was like a lot smaller, like a couple lighting artists for multiplayer, like environment artists, maybe like 10 or 15 at the most. Like now our team size is only like probably like 10 people for multiplayer. It's like really small.
I think it's interesting that so the lead level designer, basically, or environment designer, has an idea of the level, and then they tell you or they pitch you. Do you have to follow their intention, or do you can you do something completely different?
And so the level designers like build out their level, and they kind of have like an idea of like what it could be, and then it'll basically go to concept, and like concepts it out like what it could actually visually look like. And like we're pretty much always like keeping in touch with like design, concept, like environment, pretty much of like what the map's going to be. And then when it actually gets into like production phase, that's when environment artists will go to work and actually start like building things out.